Hello, everybody, and welcome to your week one recap. I'm going to try and keep it positive, but as we'll find out shortly, I did lose this week in humiliating fashion, and I'm also a little under the weather. But luckily, I have, at this point, I guess, just my co host here with me. Mikey, how's it going?
Not bad. How you doing?
Doing all right. Could be better from a fantasy perspective, at least. How was your week? Did you have the opportunity to watch a lot of football?
Yeah, I did watch a lot of football. I sat down probably I think from one to pretty much the end of the Sunday night game. So yeah, I watched a lot of football.
Now, how many leagues are you in?
I'm just in two this year. I'm usually in a lot more. Like I think last year I was in four or five, but that was too much. So I went in two this year, and I'm gonna hammer those as best I can.
And I did well in this league. Did you do as well in the other league?
Yeah, I went 2-0 actually. It was a kind of a pleasant surprise. I had a all right feeling, but I'm probably more surprised I won in this league than the other one. The other one I drafted pretty well. This one, it's my first dynasty, first super flex league, so a lot of firsts going on, but pleasantly surprised.
I mean, we'll get to it when we break down some of the matchups, which is our general plan for today. For those listening, we're gonna go through each of the matchups. I'm gonna sort of go in the order of biggest blowout to closest match, and then depending how much time we have left, we'll get into maybe some previews for next week. But we'll get into it. And there's some success that can be had at least year one in a dynasty, if you are a good redraft player. If you pretty much just treat it like a redraft with everyone else kind of looking at future value, there's a good chance your team's going to perform pretty well um, that first season. But the question is, can your team find sustained success? Which is the wrinkle, of course, that Dynasty provides. But how about we get right into the matchups? And let's start with the biggest blowout. And I hinted at it a little bit in the title for this week's preview. We have a tale of two Bradys, and we're going to start with one of the Bradys. If I can just find the matchup, there we go. The biggest blowout of the week, our league high scorer, Mr. Brady Ryan. He of two first name fame, and he played, in my opinion. I hope Moyer's listening. In my opinion, the worst team in the league. That's why I liked that first round pick of yours, Moyer. But um, Mikey, as someone else who had a pretty good week, just in general, before we dig into this matchup, are you scared about what Brady's team did this week?
Yeah, his team actually looks really solid. Yeah, especially with Barkley looking good again. So yeah, his team looks pretty scary. I mean, maybe not Devonta Smith, but yeah, looks like he's got a good squad.
Now they have him over on the side here, and I like this thing that Sleeper does at the end of every week. But I have it up on a second screen just so I can scroll through. But I believe Brady showed up quite often on this list. So he showed up as the biggest blowout. Of course, it says he outscored his opponent by a margin of 42%. Which, if you're Moyer, who actually didn't have, I just gave him a lot of crap for being a bad team. He actually outscored me significantly, but he didn't even get close to Brady. Brady was the highest scorer on the week, but he also was, according to Sleeper, the highest overachiever, outscoring his projections by 12%. I actually don't think that's too much if you're going to be called an overachiever. 12%, not too bad. Brady also featured the best running back of the week, Saquon Barkley. A huge part of his success there, Barkley right there. But Brady, and this is with scoring a week high, also had the QB bench warmer of the week, the highest scoring QB on his bench, Jameis Winston. So it doesn't look like Brady needed him. He had a decent outing from both Tannehill and Lamar Jackson. But the fact that Jameis Winston, you know, gave him 22 points off the bench, he doesn't even need it in the super flex. I think that's pretty terrifying. So I'm not even a competitive team in this league, but if I were you, I'd be pretty afraid of Brady. But how about we get in to this matchup specifics and just kind of look through where the matchup was won, where the matchup was lost. And Mikey, what I'm going to task you with doing, and I'll participate in this, so I'm not the only one. But let's um, let's label each team if we think their performance was legit, or if we think that they have some either positive or negative regression coming in the following week. So um,
Okay.
let's go ahead and just go through this matchup. And hold on, I want to at least put, there we go, there we are on there. Now you can see us. on the screen. I just realized the viewers would just be seeing the matchup. But so it looks like, I mean, Moyer's got a pretty good QB1 here in Joe Burrow. Held par with Lamar Jackson, but then it kind of just it falls apart quickly after that. Just the running back advantage that Brady had with Javonte Williams, who only got, I think, 59% of the snaps, but was Russ's favorite target. I mean, 11
Holy
catches
crap.
for 12 targets. If you look at a chart of Russ's throws, it's pretty much just at the line of scrimmage. He did not really throw the ball around. He was focusing in on a running back, which if I'm a Broncos fan is reason number 2 I'd be concerned about that team after, of course, your terrible head coach. Barkley, of course, we talked about highest running back performance of the week. Mike Davis here, someone I traded to Moyer for his first pick. Now, obviously, that wasn't the big piece for Moyer. He did get Malik Willis in that trade. But 13% snaps. I think people were expecting a lot more from Mike Davis there. So he major underperformance there. And I think just right here, this matchup here, Mike Davis versus Saquon Barkley, that's where the matchup was lost. I mean, Brady was even able to overcome a 0 from Devonta Smith in a crazy game there. But just as I'm scrolling down, anything else stand out to you, Mikey, and how this matchup went?
Not really. He had some pretty good performances. Also, you see Antonio Gibson. What I didn't realize was Javonte Williams had 11 catches, which is kind of crazy.
Crazy.
But yeah, no, definitely one between Mike Davis and Saquon Barkley. I don't think anybody expected Barkley to do that this quick.
Yeah, I think everyone would have said Saquon's going to have a better outing than Mike Davis. But to put up 32.3 points on your opponent there, just in one battle, so much so that like this Jerry Jeudy versus Smith matchup did not even end up mattering for Brady. Do we think that Brady's team, 172 maybe, isn't like a number you can expect to put up every week, but do we think Brady's team is legit? Just looking at his actual players, Jackson, Williams,
I
Barkley,
think
and
he's
so
got a
on.
pretty legit team just because, yeah, he got the 0 from Devonta Smith, but he's not going to get 0 every week. And even if he
Exactly.
doesn't like Smith, he's got options on the bench that he can put in that you even see Jamal Williams put up 16 points. Well, actually, was he flex? No, he's a wide receiver. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's got people he can put in there.
Let's take a look at his bench real quick. Yeah, he's got a solid bench as well with Winston Williams, Singletary, Isaiah McKenzie, all
Mm,
players. Yeah, those are probably the primary bench backups he's got there, but it's pretty solid for what is a very deep league that we have going on here. And I expect this 7.8 even from Damian Harris, which looks like his second worst performance, might be
oh
going
yeah,
up if Mac Jones is as injured as they say. On the other side, Moyer putting up 120, which isn't not respectable, but do we think 120 is something you can expect from this team moving forward? Considering that Mike Davis was his RB2. Well, let's see who he had in flex. Okay, it arguably gets worse. He's got Atwell in his
I was
flex.
gonna say, yeah, that one's tough. I don't know, maybe 120 might be the right score for him.
I'm willing to say that 120 is going to be above his season average. I do know he had I just really I've got to root against your team, Moyer. That's where all the shots are coming from because he does have Claypool. I'd love to hear Moyer defend his decision to bench Claypool over to was it Atwell? Yeah, I
Tutu
mean,
Atwell, yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. I think that this was a matchup that Brady was always going to win. So I'm not surprised to see it be the biggest blowout. I think these teams are doing different things right now. I think Moyer going for the Malik Willis trade, really building for the future while Brady's ready to win now, and is probably one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the league. But let's move to our second biggest blowout of the week, which I actually believe was your matchup, which actually wasn't too far behind. Mr. Damian Pierce season over here. You played Team Tony Rigatoni, who I think is rolling with one healthy QB right now, and actually Geno Smith, pretty respectable matchup. But Mike, you were up and close with this matchup. Why don't you take me through it?
I mean, it's hard to lose when you get 31 from Josh Allen, and then also Jalen Hurts almost at 25 points. That kind of set me off on the right foot. And then AJ Dillon was a nice surprise. I thought he was a solid play, but I don't know he was going to get 20 points. Tyreek Hill still looks like Tyreek Hill, so I like that. Garrett Wilson, I wish did more. I mean, he got 9, but you'd like to see a touchdown in there, maybe a couple more catches.
Yeah, it
Sky
looks
Moore, Sky Moore was in for like one play, made a catch, but he wasn't even on the field on like 3 wide receiver sets. So that might be
pretty
something I have to
big
look at. He's
catch,
a guy
30
I'm
yards.
building for the future. Yeah, it was a nice catch, but might
Yeah,
be a guy that
19% snaps. I know
sits for a
that
little
they
bit.
played their they also played Pacheco late. I wonder if they kind of put in those guys late in the game just to get
Mm,
them some reps. Such a easy win for them against a team that's traditionally pretty decent to start the season. How was your bench this week? Khalil Herbert's a really nice piece. Jacoby Brissett will obviously be a solid backup because he's playing.
hmm
Zay Jones, Curtis Samuel, a big guy that's getting a lot of hype for waiver wires and
Yeah, that
redraft
was a
leagues. That's
nice
got to feel good.
surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah. He got 15 targets, which is kind of crazy. Be nice
it
if
looks
he
like 11
almost got that
targets.
Debo Samuel Jr. role. But
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
yeah, I'll be interested to see if he can keep it up though. But he's always been an athlete and he's still pretty young, so it's a nice little
Yeah,
surprise.
yeah, I think you have a pretty solid team as well. I know you told me off air that you weren't necessarily expecting to win this league, but I think no offense to Tony, but him rolling out just Geno Smith at quarterback, and I believe he's got
Yeah, but he
Darnold who's
also I think he
bench.
has 3 guys hurt, or yeah,
Yeah,
maybe just
well, Desmond
Darnold.
Ritter on the bench, Darnold on the
Oh, also
bench,
Zach
Locke on the
Wilson.
bench, and then Zach
Yeah,
Wilson who's injured. So
yeah,
he'll have a second
tough luck.
quarterback. And
Yeah, he
if
will.
Geno loses the job, he does have his backup in Drew Lock. Not necessarily a backup you want.
Yeah.
But I will highlight for team Tony Rigatoni, not all hope is lost. He's got very good running backs. You might not notice it seeing the performances from Henry and Najee Harris. But if you come down here in his flex, he also has Nick Chubb and Leonard Fournette. I think all 4 of these running backs are capable of much better games. I mean, Chubb played about as well as you can hope without getting a touchdown. I mean, 141 yards on the ground is ridiculous. 127 yards from Fournette is ridiculous. But Fournette's got touchdowns coming. He's got more catches coming. Chubb's going to score a touchdown or 2. And then obviously Harris and Henry are in for better days ahead. Now, I say all that because I don't know if like they're necessarily going to benefit him, but running backs, you can get a pretty decent haul for them in this league. So if there's people looking for running backs, I'm going to give my guy Tony here a shout out. He might be the guy you want to go to. If you're starting, let's say hypothetically, the 3rd string running back on the Ravens, and you're as your RB2, Mr. John Moyer, you might want to reach out to Tony and figure out a deal here. And then of course, Tony's receivers, CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Tolbert on the downtrend, losing Dak Prescott. We'll get more into that when we look at my matchup. Hollywood Brown, I think got some decent hope, but this is a better team, I think, than he scored for sure. He was the week low. This is not a team I expect to score 95 points every week. So I say Tony's got some positive regression coming for him. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think all 4 of his running backs could be running back ones on any given week. So having 4 guys like that is pretty sweet. I think he definitely has better weeks coming.
Yeah, and then of course also Zach Wilson will be healthy soon. Hopefully, I don't know if he'll be any good, but he'll be there. 2 QBs will help. And then I think Mike, I think we both agree your team is fairly legit. It's another team with Brady and a couple others that I think will be competing for the title this year. So nothing shocking there with you putting up 145. It's just pretty good. Okay, let's move to our next matchup. We'll just go ahead and say it's this one. I believe it is. College roommates, Mr. 50 Shades of Trey, the co-commissioner, the commissioner. I have commissioner powers though. So if you ever need me to do anything shady, I'm the commissioner for that. And then Andrew Kime, Mr. Take Your Pick. Let's start with, do you understand Take Your Pick? I feel like I'm missing something really obvious here. I tend to miss these references and team names.
Oh, I think he just did it during the draft when people were taking forever. I think he
Ah,
did it
no, you're
twice.
totally
I think
right.
he did take your pick without it all capitalized, and then he did take your pick shortly after.
Oh, you're totally right. That is, I do remember him doing that now. But Take Your Pick here had a nice week. His picks paying off for him. Behind the scenes here from Mr. 50 Shades of Trey. He was actively rooting to lose, so much so that I believe he went 2-2 technically in his leagues, but he is saying he went 3-1 because this is what he's considering a productive loss because he is not playing for this year. Now he says that, and I've tried to trade him a few things behind the scenes trying to fix my team, which is so broken. But I'm not sure he's actually interested in selling, right? Or buying. Wait, no. Yeah, selling right now. But he does have a young team, so he doesn't really have many pieces to sell if he's building for the future. But let's go through this matchup. We had good battle here between Herbert and Murray. I bet both of them probably would have liked more from either of those QBs, but can't really complain when the other QB does something similar. Eckler here, disappointing weekend for him, I'd say. ETN, he's interesting. He's not being used as your traditional running back. Let's see what his snap share actually was, and let's compare it to James Robinson. I bet it's over 100 when you combine the two. But he got 51%, and then James Robinson got 49. Oh no, so they split it pretty evenly. That's interesting. But yeah, ETN is he's being used as the pass catching back. A good game for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He did get pulled late, I think, for Pacheco. Yeah, only 39% snap. So very productive with the limited touches he got there. And so if you're just looking at these three matchups, you're probably like, oh, this is going very well for Mr. Coke and Mish. But then we get to the wide receivers and Cooper Kupp, and that's where Mr. Take Your Pick makes up a lot of ground here with the 31.8 Kupp versus the 4.7 T Higgins. It's a lot like earlier when we were looking at Saquon Barkley. Outscoring his opponent by 30. That's where the matchup was won and lost to both managers. Apparently, their pleasure. They both wanted this result. So I don't know. Michael Carter is a nice piece that Squibb has kind of stumbled on here. Obviously, late in camp, he started getting some buzz, but 17 points from him, and then to see Treylon Burks get 5 targets. I think Squibb is probably pretty happy with this loss if he's really building for the future. But what stands out to you when you look through this matchup, Mikey?
Cooper Kupp, I think he scored more than all his receivers he's played combined. I think, I don't know, Trey Lance, he didn't look super sharp, but it was also a monsoon he was playing in. So I'll be interested to see how he starts to play maybe in a non-monsoon.
Yeah,
I think he could have
13
better
carries.
Weeks ahead.
Might have only been 54 yards, but 13 carries for a quarterback, that's going to pay off in a lot of weeks.
Definitely getting some work.
Then on the flip side, there 50 passes for Matt Ryan. That's up there. That's like 13 carries.
That's tremendous.
For a QB.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was 50. Yeah, that's a lot. But to only have one touchdown, that kind of sucks. But still, you got 15 points.
Yeah.
And Allen Robinson, I think everybody expected to do more. To only see him get 2 targets is kind of surprising, especially against,
and
I think,
one
some
was the
rookie
last
corners
play
in Buffalo.
Of the game. So it's really
so basically
target.
1 target all game. Yeah. I don't know. I think he'll have more, but when Kupp does what he does, why throw it anywhere else?
I believe that I've I don't really know. Matt Stafford looked horrible. Honestly, I think he probably shouldn't be playing right now, but it seemed like the Bills' strategy was to let Kupp do his things, and they just took away Robinson, and it looks bad for fantasy, but it worked for the Bills for sure. Daniel Jones and Kenneth Gainwell, good pieces here. Hilliard, probably a nice surprise for Keim, is you don't expect Derrick Henry to ever really hit the bench. And it is only an 18% snap share, but that is not something we've seen in the past with the Derrick Henry's backup. And if he's going to continue to get work in the passing game, 4 targets, that's a nice bench fill. And obviously 21 points is a lot. He's not going to do that every week, but James Robinson, though, also another nice surprise for Keim is we looked at him earlier, 49% of the snaps. He looks healed from his Achilles injury. We've talked about Pacheco already coming off he came in late in the game after the Chiefs had it wrapped up. But both these teams look pretty good. Like they have good players in their starting lineups, but as we continue to go down, Sterling Shepard looked like the Giants' number 1 receiver. Jacoby Myers was the only productive receiver for the Pats. Like both these teams, Josh Palmer gets a big bump with Keenan Allen out. Alberto, the leading tight end for the Broncos, Taysom Hill. Wow, these teams are deep for compared to most of the teams we've been looking at, and even for a 12-team league. I don't know. I think both these teams, they've done a pretty good job. What do you think? Do you think that where they scored is about what we can expect moving forward?
Yeah, I'm looking at Keim's team. I like Keim's team a lot. I think 142 is probably average. And with Squibb, I guess it all depends if Allen Robinson starts to get involved in the offense and maybe Trey Lance steps up a little bit, but he probably wants some negative regression, but I think he's probably right around where he'll score at or be at.
I mean, Squibb can try and tank all he wants, but I think even trying to tank, he can't do worse than Moyer and myself. So he's going to have one good lottery pick versus my two. So good luck, Squibb. Um, but that was that matchup. I think we're now at my matchup. It was a 10-point matchup, and this was quite humiliating, mostly because I post a message in the group me if you haven't seen it yet. I basically was like, I'm open to anything, trying to fix my team from a trading standpoint. And then my opponent here reaches out to me and he's like, if you're interested in buying, I'm trying to sell. So basically, my opponent who beat me, and at the time he reached out to me, it was clear that he was going to win. He's trying to then sell while I'm trying to buy. It's just pretty embarrassing. Just losing to a team that put up 117 is probably pretty happy, but disappointed that they beat me because my team only put up 107 points. Just wasn't a good week. So I want to do this. Let's go through each of my players just real quick and just see how bad I did with this team. So Dak Prescott clear down arrow. He's injured. He's out for, I don't know if it's 4 weeks. I don't know if it's 8 weeks, but he's out. So that's a down arrow. McCaffrey, one of the worst games he's had in a long time. I'm going to give that a down arrow. Zeke, down arrow. He got 6 points, even though he's productive on the ground. No points to show for it. AJ Brown, the one player that I got right. All this production was basically the first half, but 25 points. So I feel good about that. McLaurin looks a lot better than it was. He only got 4 targets, late touchdown, saved his game. Carson Wentz spreading the ball around a lot. Olave, I got him from you, I guess. The only
Yep.
reason I feel good about him is because he did better than Sky Moore, which was who our trade was. So I guess that's the other one. I'll say I got that right. Cole Kmet, arguably the biggest bust so far. Dude got one. I mean, it was a monsoon, but he got 1 target, 0 points. Melvin Gordon, I'm actually okay with this because this fumble, if they had called it a touchdown on the field, probably would have stood as a touchdown. And so that his day would have looked a lot differently. But I mean, he got 41% of the snaps. I'm actually okay with that. Chark's going to be fine until Jameson Williams comes back. He is what he is. Tom Brady, I don't know down arrow. The line sucks. He sucks. Joe Flacco sucks. Baker Mayfield, probably the best game he's going to have all year. I've got the Rams backup. Come on, let's bench Stafford. Zamir White, not even seeing playing time except on special teams, kind of a bit of a shock. Crowder's lost out in the slot to McKenzie. Godwin re-injured himself. He's out for weeks. Galladay sucks. We don't need to talk about him. Edwards, supposed to be the wide receiver number 2 for the Falcons. 1 target. I don't care about him. I got him in the Moyer deal. Watson, I mean, you saw Aaron Rodgers' reaction to him, and we all know what Rodgers does. Probably the best player on my team on my bench, Logan Thomas, is like a 40-year-old tight end. Let's see how old he actually is, 31. So yeah, I did a horrible job with this team. I was trying to compete. I was trying to kind of thread the needle, but this is probably the worst team I have ever drafted. I am very much down on this team. So it's 107 points, but I'll just go ahead and so you don't have to be a dick and say it. I think that's legit. I think my team is a 107-point team.
Nah.
No, I think it is. Meanwhile, my opponent, let's talk about him. Do we think so? He's trying. I've given you a little bit behind the scenes. He's trying to sell. He's not trying to win. So he's 120. It's probably legit, right?
Oh yeah, for a team that's trying to sell, probably.
Yeah, and he's done a good job. Like if you look at his future players, so he's got Justin Fields, obviously. That rookie class last year still has a lot of hype around it. Breece Hall, the top running back from this year's class, he's got a lot of hype if he can win the job. Chase, another good building block. Metcalf, I'm not the biggest Metcalf fan, but he's a decent building block. Kadarius Toney that might be someone he's a little disappointed in. As he seems kind of buried on that Giants depth chart for no apparent reason. Goddard, I mean, he's going to be solid I don't know how long tight ends are really going to last, but he's a solid tight end and tight end premium, a lot better than Mr. Cole Kmet over here. who might be younger, but he doesn't even run routes. So whatever. Julio Jones was a nice find. I'm sure he's going to sell him if he is trying to build for the future too. As another nice building block. But I really what I'm trying to build down to here is he's got some players on his bench, Calvin Ridley, Michael Gallup, and there's two others. I thought they might not be showing us the IR, but he has Michi, I believe, is how I say it, Mechie. And then does he have another one? I don't know. He's got those three wide receivers at least that are kind of nothings this year. Oh, and it looks like J.K. Dobbins. So those four players, three receivers, one running back that are kind of nothings at the moment. But Dobbins and Gallup will be returning soon, and they're probably pretty good dynasty pieces. And then Ridley, if he plays again, he's obviously elite. And then Mechie is got a lot of potential. So I think he's built his team pretty well for his goal to compete later on. What do you think?
I think so too. I know you mentioned Tony didn't get a lot of playing time, but I think he missed all of preseason. So I don't know if they're just kind of weathering the storm before he comes back. But I don't know. The one time they did give him a ball, he had a nice little run. But yeah, no, he's got. I mean, even besides Tony, like you mentioned, he's got a ton of people. Dobbins is another one I really like, but I think he's probably right around where he should be, and probably some positive regression coming in the next couple of years.
Not the team you want to lose to, though. When he's using some solid draft capital on players that did not play this week. So at least I bucked all the fantasy experts and benched Chris Godwin in favor of DJ Chark. So suck it. I did something right.
Oh wow. No, that was a good one, yeah.
That's all I did right though. So but you gotta hold on to something. Okay. Let's get to our closest matchup of the week. Free Real Estate, which I believe is a leftover reference to when my team was named after Dave. All Talk Dave Sucks was my old team name. So I'm pretty sure that's what that's in reference to. And then we're playing Scott Hansen's Coke Habit here. This sucks for Free Real Estate. This was a really good matchup. Two of our, I think they both upper middle scores. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but both respectable scores, 144 and 137. So that's a tough loss here for Dave. But if you're JB, you gotta be very happy sneaking out a win here. Let's go through it. Russ versus Mac Jones. Is it safe to say that even with this big point discrepancy, if you're both of these guys, you're worried about these two QBs?
I don't know if I'm worried about him. Mac Jones, I think, will definitely have better days. Same with Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson will still have some way better days than what he did. I think both those games really kind of were slow and sucked to watch. But I think both of them.
Are you a Patriots fan?
I'm a Pats fan, but I'm not saying Mac Jones is going to have like some lights out performances. But I think he probably gets back up to maybe where he was last year.
Yeah, I mean, Bane broke his back. I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
I think Russ was less. I mean, he threw 42 times, so that's where the points are coming from, 340 yards. But I mean, he ran once, he checked down over and over again, and he played the Seahawks. I'm very concerned with Russ, and I was someone who was super high on him in the Broncos coming in. I feel like quite the idiot now. I thought that was a really disgusting game from them last night. Swift versus Mixon. We're going to take our time a little bit with this matchup since it was so close. Swift looked great. Is he CMC light? I don't know if I believe that, but I think he's legit. I think he's one of the best dynasty running backs out there. Joe Mixon, obviously a solid guy as well. I don't know if there's much more to add to this. That's what you want from those guys. That's what you got. This next matchup, however, though, Cam Akers and Elijah Mitchell. Now, I guarantee you, JB loses Elijah Mitchell, and it's natural to be like, oh, man, dang. That I got so unlucky. I started him and he got injured early, only 6 carries, but that's nothing compared to starting Cam Akers, who no one knew what was in store for Cam Akers, who got 3 carries for 0 yards. And I believe only 12. Did he even get 12 snaps? I want to say it was 12 snaps, 18% snap share. So that sounds about right. And it came out after the game that if Kyron Williams was healthy, who's on the IR right now, that he would have split carries with Cam Akers. So it could have been even worse than 3 carries for 0 yards. That was one of the more shocking things of the week, seeing Cam Akers go that badly. So you can see so far how these matchups are so close. Underperforming quarterbacks. Well, obviously JB's did better. Their two running back ones did really well, and then the failure here from their RB2s. How about Mike? You take me through what you're seeing in this wide receiver matchup here.
The wide receiver, I see Justin Jefferson putting up Randy Moss like numbers, which
Yeah,
surely helped. He's the
highest score
I
of the
believe he's a wide
week.
receiver one. Oh, highest score, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mahomes
Justin Jefferson's
35,
performance.
Jefferson 39.
hmm And Juju looked like he was getting some work in the Chiefs game, so I think he probably has that slot role, um, sort of buttoned up. And one fumble loss, you'll see weeks where he gets that, and then also a touchdown, so he could have some nice weeks. I'm on Ross St. Brown. I didn't watch that game, so I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like 12 targets and a touchdown, which you can't be mad at.
I believe he's on quite the streak of games with, I forget if it's like 7 catches or more or a certain amount of targets. Like he's getting up
hmm
there close to the record, which is kind of crazy.
Oh
If
wow,
you
yeah, and
include
he's
last year
22.
and with this year. Yeah. I think this is where the matchup was where the matchup was lost for Dave. Jefferson crushed Moore, Smith, Juju outscored Cooper, and Amon-Ra St. Brown outscored Cooks. But to see this, Dave must have got some points down here. Yeah, okay, he did. Kyle Pitts, 7 targets is good. That sucks though. That's not what you're expecting from the tight end one in Dynasty. Maybe the hardest asset to get in Dynasty. I don't know if you maybe think one of the better QBs is harder to get, but like trying to trade for Kyle Pitts, that's not going to happen. That's a very coveted asset right there, doing nothing for Dave.
Yeah, 2 for 19 is tough.
Yeah, honestly, looking through this matchup, Dave may have lost, but I think he's got a lot of positive regression coming. Obviously, he can avoid Akers now. He knows that now. On the other hand, though, I think JB's team can do better. Just like we see points left on the board with Mitchell. And then we see Rodgers' horrible performance. But other than that, I mean, JB did well. I think actually was he our top manager this week? They do the efficiency scoring. He was. So he got 94% of his possible points, even with Aaron Rodgers going 3.7. And I think that JB might have gotten closer to like what he can expect in, week out. And don't get me wrong, 144 points. That's 30 more points than I expect from my team every week. That's really solid. But I think that Dave left more points on the table here. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Dave did
It's
get a lot of
pretty
those
easy to
points
win when
back with
Justin
Wentz,
Jefferson
though.
scores 39. Yeah.
30 points from Wentz. That's not okay. Maybe that's not something you expect every week. These are 2 good teams, though. I think these 2 plus you, Kime, Brady, and then did I miss a matchup? I think I did. I did miss a matchup. Oh, okay. We'll get to it. I did forget about it because the other team that's of course the rebuild team or sorry the redraft team in our league, as you like to call him, Vladimir Pustin, Justin. We've skipped his matchup, so sorry about that. We'll get to that. Wait, I clicked on the wrong matchup, didn't I? When I was clicking back in, but I don't know if there's much more to add. What I will say is Dave did smartly handcuff Akers with Henderson. So that's going to be a really
Yeah.
easy swap for him to make. And it's almost like he's back and rolling already, going for it. And then he's going to get Watson some point later in the season. So Dave, I think honestly is my favorite team in the league from a balance standpoint of will he compete now and can he compete in the future? I think Dave did a really good job building this team. But that's just my take. Let's get to that Pustin matchup because it's now in my mind. This is the guy that I'm still not sure knows we're playing Dynasty, but has built himself quite the redraft juggernaut. My theory is he just had some redraft rankings, and so he's just taking all the best players this year. And I think he probably has the best team in the league for this season. But he was only the second highest scorer in this week, and he took home his friend Team Squibby 52445. What is that? That's April 24th, 1945. That seems right? Yeah, probably not. He does have Matt Stafford though, but we'll get to. There's another thing that makes me think that Pustin might not know everything about the league, and yet he's kicking our asses. um, we'll get to that, but what stands out to you just looking at these first few players here in this matchup?
The first few, I think Stafford will have better games, but 7 is tough. Kamara, I think, will also have better games. Although, what's that? 13 targets. You'd probably want to see more out of him. I mean, obviously, he's got Jonathan Taylor. He could be a league winner by himself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he took him 1-1 in the draft. I think that would be Exhibit A, if not considering the Superflex aspect. Exhibit B, though, would be he started Matt Stafford, and then you get to a Superflex. He started Lockett. Okay, maybe he didn't draft. Oh, he has Kirk Cousins on his bench. Okay. Poussin, I don't want to say anything too bad because you'd kick my butt by a lot, and I think you'll be able to do it all year. Even if I hit any of my draft picks, you'd still have a better team than me. But you might want to consider starting 2 QBs in a super flex, especially over someone like Tyler Lockett, who's not necessarily bad, but I don't know if he's going to outscore Kirk Cousins that often. Now, I do think Matt Stafford might have a serious injury, but that's just because I have his backup. That's why I think that. Let's go. Let's continue down the matchup here, though, going one by one here. You kind of already went through these running backs and these top receivers here. You really do. I mean, it's not like Poussin's team has no future value. Waddle's a nice piece. Sutton is a solid piece. I like Hunt. But then it's like guys like Travis Kelce, who's going to be huge this year.
Isn't he 34?
Oh, yeah, 32. But how old is he? 32. But that's pretty old for a pretty physical position. Wasn't tight end one last year. I think he's off to obviously a pretty good start. I don't think Mark Andrews had the best week. So I don't know how much longer that's going to be giving him a lot of value. Tyler Lockett is another guy. I feel like his career is definitely on a downward trajectory. I'm only focusing on one team here. 30-point outing from Adams, solid. Mike Williams, 3 points, not so solid. I think moving forward, you can probably expect a lot more from Mike Williams, even with Keenan Allen out. If he was playing, though, I mean, even with him playing, I think Mike Williams, you can obviously expect more going forward here. And I think you can also expect more going forward from Mooney. Gesicki, I'm not so sure. What do you think? Do you think he's got I mean, it's a new offense. There, I don't know. Do you think Gesicki is gonna do it going forward at tight end?
I think he'll probably have more than one reception for 1 yard, but I'm probably not as high on him as other people are. I think he's good. I don't think he's super crazy talented, but he'll have, I don't know, I could see like 5, 6, 7, 8-point weeks out of him.
Now, the good news for Squibby is, though, I know from looking at teams for trade targets, he has good backup tight ends. He's got Dalton Schultz, whose value is actually probably going to take a little bit of a hit. OJ Howard, whose value is probably on the rise as he goes over to Indianapolis, only takes not many snaps, 17% of the snaps, but scores twice. He was recently acquired by them, though, so you got to think that will go up. Cameron Brate, whatever. Isaiah Likely, though, he's the other one. Pretty solid up-and-coming dynasty tight end. They did give him 4 targets. He was unable to convert it into literally anything. But I think that even if Gesicki, it's Gesicki, I'm pretty sure. If he has a bad season, I think that Squibby will be fine. Robert Woods, bad outing. I'd be slightly concerned about Robert Woods, but again, like you said, 1 catch. That's he's going to do better than that moving forward. And then Derek Carr also. Honestly, looking through these matchups, he got 134 points because he got huge outings from Mahomes and Adams. But I think you can make a case that April 24th, 1945 here had left the most points on the board. Like, I think he could have scored a lot more. I mean, just look at this in a row. Williams is going to score more. Mooney's going to score more. Gesicki, we don't like him, but he's going to score more. Woods is going to score more. Carr is going to score more. That's a lot.
Yeah, Carr had 3 picks, and he's got Carr and Adams, so that's a pretty sweet stack. That's definitely going to bring him a lot of points.
then a pretty good fantasy QB. And since he had 12 carries, we talked about Lance having 13, 12 carries for Marcus Mariota if he ever needs him. Rex Burkhead, to your dismay, probably 71% of the snap percentage. Is Damian Pierce season already over?
Yeah, it might be something like Bills Mafia because I have Josh Allen now. I'm not sure if it's Damian Pierce season.
Who needs to change their team name more? You as Damian Pierce season or me as Dak Panther?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you because Dak's
Yeah,
out, and I don't know how long he's out for either.
he's out and he sucks. And what honestly, it was supposed to be also like a combined name of like Dak, Prescott, and then Panther because I also have obviously Black Panther, but I also have CMC, and he also didn't do as well as I would have liked. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to need to change my team name. I was having a much better season when I was all talk Dave sucks. I hadn't lost the game yet,
Oh,
so maybe I'll switch back.
yeah.
I like both these teams. Honestly, I think we have some really solid teams in this league, and all it's done is made me even more sad about my team. There's some good teams. I think we talked about a lot of them already, but add both of these to the list. You know, I have my question marks about what Houston's doing, but it's working. So I really shouldn't be questioning it that much. With our last few minutes here, though, let's real quickly go to next week and let's not necessarily do in-depth analysis, but just based on this and what we remember, let's give a quick hit who we think's gonna win each week, keeping in mind that lineups will not be set, so the projections will be way off. Starting with Dak Panther to be changed versus Team Squibby. What if you're born in 1945? How old are you?
Pretty damn old.
pretty damn old. I didn't want to
Probably
do
like
the math,
80
but
something.
no, 77. No, it was
77.
April.
Yeah.
How old? This is so stupid. This is how sick I am. I can't even do it. I'm like a math major. How old is someone who was born on April 24th? I think it's going to be 78.
Yeah, it's high 70s. It's got to be.
77 years old, 4 months, 1 week. All right, so we're going to call him 77-year-old Squib, and then we're going to call the Squib. Or we can call him 24-year-old Squib for a couple more months. 24-year-old Squib versus 77-year-old Squib. Okay. So who do you got, Mikey? Dak Panther versus 77-year-old Squib. And I actually have set my lineup, which is why the projections look close.
Oh, I see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm liking the old man Squibs team a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one. We'll call him
I
Old
think he's
Man
got a
Squib.
pretty solid lineup.
Old Man Squib, I think he's
77-year-old
got me
Squib.
beat. Hopefully he's got
Yeah.
so much depth. Hopefully he sets himself out of a good lineup this week. That's my hope. All right. How
Yeah.
about who you played last week? Team Tony Brigatoni with his 4 running back ones versus my biggest rival here, Mr. Free Real Estate LLC.
Ooh, I don't know. I think Dave might have a case to win here.
Yeah. I'm trying not to show you the players just to get your gut reaction, but actually let's just do it. Let's just click in. No, actually I changed my mind. This is what you do when you don't plan these things.
Oh, because I was looking at the rosters on my computer, so.
Oh, that's what you get to do
Yeah.
when you don't turn your webcam on.
Yeah.
I think Dave's probably winning.
Yeah.
I still believe that Tony, if he makes the right moves this season, I don't know. The QB situation is rough for him, but if he can find the moves to make, I think Tony can have a pretty competitive team down the stretch. But I think for now, Dave, who again I said earlier was my favorite team in the league, especially after. Am I allowed to say that about my rival? I think it's time for him to change. No, maybe he has a point. He has free real estate in my head because all I can think about is how amazing his team is and how bad my team is. All right, here we go. Your matchup, Mikey. Give me some honest analysis here. Damian Pierce season to be changed. I think you might change it versus Scott Hansen's Coke habit.
I'm always biased. I always think I'm gonna win. So I don't know. I think his lineup probably isn't set yet, and he's still favored to win. So we're gonna need some big performances, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna pull it out.
Yeah, I think just because you're sitting here with me, I'm going to go with you to win this. I don't want no beef. And if you don't like my analysis, you can jump on the pod instead. Mikey's the only one willing to do it, so he gets the benefit of that. I'm picking Mikey to win next week. All right, here we go. Well, that's a high projected score here. We did talk about the incredible depth that take your pick. Who after listening to this, I bet will change his name. He has incredible depth. He's clearly able to set a pretty awesome lineup versus who I described as the worst team in the league. And here he is, outscoring me last week, but now also projecting me by 9 points. Can we expect Moyer to pull off the big upset here, or pull any more weird lineup setting decisions and bench? Right now, he's got him in Chase Claypool. For I don't know who. He could do anything if he's putting Tutu Atwell in. What do you think? Does Moyer
I
outsmart
think Moyer.
himself here?
I don't know. I think Moyer could pull off an upset. I don't think Burrow's gonna throw 4 picks again. So I think maybe Burrow gets back to himself and projects Moyer to a nice win.
Moyer did luck in here to Jeff Wilson. That's where the projected points are
Oh, that
coming
too.
from. That's a big upgrade over Mike Davis, who he had in there. Yeah, Moyer's team looks a lot better all of a sudden. See, even Moyer did better than me. whose first round pick's more valuable, his or mine? Yeah, I have them both. This sucks. Oh man, yeah, but Moyer's bench isn't the best. He's got Russell Gage, I guess, who will benefit from Godwin being out. Who has Godwin? Oh yeah, me. I lost everyone. I lost 4 players. I think Dak Prescott, Godwin, Ty Montgomery, who got like 30. He got a third of the snaps and was getting some passing work. So
Yeah,
I was
he was
pretty
getting some
disappointed in
passing
that.
work.
And then I lost. Oh, I already had lost Kyron Williams, but now he's officially on the IR. The guy who's going to split carries with Cam Akers. Okay, moving on. We've got 50 Shades of Trey versus Brady Ryan. I talked to Brady a lot early in the podcast. He is projected to lose against someone who's apparently tanking. But my suspicions, I don't think he's actually tanking. So who do you got in this matchup, Mikey?
I I don't know. It's a pretty close one. Even just not even looking at the projections, looking at the teams. Probably go with Brady Ryan. I think he could pull this one off. Just because I love the Javonte Williams and Barkley at running back. I mean, he's also got Diggs, who could possibly finish as wide receiver 1 this year. And then you see he's got Keenan Allen, who's projected at 1.75 right now. I think he'll either switch him or that'll change.
Yeah, I'll change to
So,
0. Yeah, he'll
yeah, I
switch it.
think Brady's got a pretty good shot. Yeah.
I mean, he's got McKenzie, who got some nice work. If Lazard's back, that's an easy switch in probably. Yeah, Brady will find someone to switch in. His bench isn't as deep as Squibbs, but I think he's got some place. Singletary, if he can move him to flex. Yeah, I think Brady will be fine. So, actually, he can't move him to flex. He's got 2 running backs there. That'll actually be interesting. If he doesn't have Keenan Allen or Alan Lazard, I don't know how Lazard is tracking. If Squibb is truly tanking, I expect to see some lineup changes from him. Otherwise, I think that the jig is up. I think he's trying to win.
It's a facade, yeah.
Yeah. I think he's going to respond to this and say he's calling it some term. It's like a productive loss. Like he's still trying to produce points, but he's happy when he loses. I just don't get that. It's either lose on purpose or try and win. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
If he wants those lottery balls, he's got to lose. But now he knows he's competing with me doubly because I've got my own team that's falling apart, and then Moyers. You can tell I'm down bad. I can't help but mention how bad my team is. Okay, final matchup here. Vladimir Pustin. Does he fix his lineup? We'll click in and see. Versus Ryan Janiga, who we know is trying to lose, trying to sell players to me after beating me. It does look like Pustin figured out he can put Kirk Cousins in a flex spot. That's bad news for Brady. I'm not sure he stood a chance anyways, but the best redraft team in the league. just figured out as a super flex. I don't know. Does Poussin have any shot of losing here?
No, I think that's pretty powerful now that the redraft team has learned how to put a quarterback in his flex position. I think that's a game changer.
That is a game changer. It's like probably an extra. It's probably only an extra 5 points a week, but I mean that makes a difference. So, but yeah, it looks. If you got to put real quick, last thoughts. One lock of the week. I want one lock of the week of all these matchups, and then I want one team you're putting on upset watch. So I'll go first since I put you on the spot.
Okay.
I'm going with Vladimir Poussin as my lock of the week. And then upset watch, I'm going for does this even count as an upset? Can I pick Squibb as an upset? Because I think he's actually trying to win. I don't know what do we rule as an upset? Like I feel like you or your opponents, neither would be an upset, so I don't think I can pick from that game. You know what? I'm riding with Dak Panther.
Yeah.
I think he's got an upset brewing. The worst team in the league. I think he's got some tricks up his sleeve. I don't know. You heard it from the manager himself. There's some tricks up his sleeve. I'm picking myself for the upset. This just complete 180 from my stance on the whole podcast. All right. Did I give you enough time to think though?
Oh yeah. My lock was also Vladimir Poussin. I think, his team is just really strong for anyone for 1 week, and that shows obviously with his projections. As far as upset, I mean, if you're just looking at the percentages, all of them are actually relatively kind of close, between like 40 and 50%. But I was wondering if John was upset because
Moyer,
I think those
he's for sure
lineups will change. Oh no, I was talking about a Squibb.
Oh, Squibb.
50 Shades of Trey, yeah, if that one counted, but I guess we're not going to go with that one.
No, that counts. He's on record saying he's trying to lose.
No, I was looking at both of them because I don't know, I like your team too because I think Baker Mayfield, I think he showed something. I don't know how consistent he'll be, but also McCaffrey and Elliott, I think they have bigger weeks ahead, and I think those two guys will get you a lot of points or more points than they did last week. And then you had some weird zeros with Cole Kmet. I think he had either 0 or like 1 point last week.
He had 0. So definitely had 0.
Oh yeah. So I think
0.
I think you'll see some rebound.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't have anyone to really sub in though. I mean, I'm starting Baker Mayfield, dude. That's so ugly. Yeah, look at my bench is just shot. I've got Flacco, but out, backup on special teams, losing his job, out. I don't know what's wrong with him. Sloth, we'll call him. Not sure what's going on with him. Obviously, not expecting anything from him. Rodgers hates him. Not expecting anything from him this season. Maybe I'll start a couple tight ends. I might. We'll see. I hate my team. No. I've got tricks up my sleeve. I'm calling the upset. I'll say this, Mike. I'll say this. If I lose back-to-back weeks against an opponent who then, after beating me, tries to trade me with me buying, and Ryan, obviously, I'm not, if you're listening, obviously, I'm not actually mad at you for doing that, but it's just kind of a bad visual for me. And then I follow that up by losing to a 77-year-old man. I might quit the league. Like I put myself on quit watch. We might need to line up we might need to go to the waiting list and line up a new manager after this week, because it's looking dark for Dak Panther if he loses to a 77-year-old man, especially on a platform like Sleeper. No thoughts on my quit?
Oh no, I mean, I think an early exit. I don't know. If you go 0-2, that's all right. But when you start to if you go 0-3, I think maybe you think about you said you're trying to thread the needle between competing now and then kind of competing.
Oh, I'm definitely going 0-3. I've got Vladimir.
Maybe if you start 0-3, that makes a decision for you. Yeah.
Let's go 0-4. I want to know, like, I bet. Okay, I want to see what week I'm playing Moyer, because that's probably the week that I will actually quit if I'm with it. It's pretty deep in the season, so there we go. Oh, did he just change his team name? Has he been Joey Beans and company this whole time?
I think he has.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, if I lose that week, if I'm 0-7, Joe, do I even say this? Because I know the people in this league are going to hold me to this. If I'm 0-7, I'm quitting the league for sure. If I start 0-7, unless it was intentional, like Squib. Squib will be 0-7 obviously by this point because he's trying to
Happily
lose.
0-7.
Yeah, exactly. 7-0 if you ask him.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we've been going for almost an hour. It is 6 o'clock. So let's go ahead and wrap up there. Thanks for joining me once again. As I said, you're basically my official co-host now, but open invite for anyone. We can have up to, I think, 6 people at a time. So I'm gonna continue to do this probably around this time every Tuesday. Seems like it's not the best time for everyone, but maybe as people remember and it gets in their rhythm, and they have some free time one week, they'll join the pod. It'll be cool to get some people like I'd love to have a 77-year-old on the podcast, just kind of pick his brain. How long's he been playing fantasy? I'd love to get Vladimir Pustin on the pod. At what point did he actually realize it was super flex? Does he even know it's dynasty? Like, these are the questions we need answered. So I'd love to get some other voices on the pod. But until then, I think it's just going to be you and me every week, unless you're going to ditch me here.
No, I'm here. This is a good time for me. I'll do what I got to do.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you joining for me or joining with me. And I've got to go because I need to blow my nose. But with that, see you guys. Good luck next week. Unless you're the 77-year-old playing me, then go me. All right. Bye.